Okay, right now in question B, they said that if A and B were removed from the data set above, what will happen to the correlation coefficient, right? Now, first things first, now what I want you to understand is that and B, A and B are outliers, right? Those ones, the A and B's are outliers, ne? Now, if you remove outliers from the data, the R value will increase basically meaning that there will be stronger correlation since data will be less scattered. Okay, so the first thing for you to answer the question was to first identify that A and B are outliers because they are values that are very far off from the other given data sets, right? And now the other thing, that if you remove outliers from the data, the R value will increase, basically meaning that there will be stronger correlation since data will be less scattered. Now remember, from the theory of correlation, from the theory of correlation coefficient, is that if correlation coefficient is if the correlation coefficient, let me write this out, if a correlation coefficient is either -1 or 1, it means that the correlation coefficient is going to be perfect. All right, so if you're going to have a correlation, or so if you're going to have a value of R which is either plus or -1, it means that you have a perfect correlation, I mean to say. So that would be a perfect correlation. All right, and then if your correlation coefficient it ranges from R, from -1 to 1, it's gonna be stronger correlation. All right, so this is what I want you to get. Now, seeing that in this question they told us that if A and B were removed from the data set above, what will happen to the correlation? Now, this means, can you see that from our previous question, our correlation coefficient, we identified it to be -0.8. Now, if you remove A and B, it just means that your correlation coefficient is going to get closer to -1. All right, so basically, this is the answer to your question over here. In other words, if that correlation coefficient is going to get to -1, it just means that it's basically decreasing for our case of that -8. So it basically decreases here. All right, so this is the answer that you could have written in the question, but the answer that I prefer is that you could have just used this one over there. You could have just said that the correlation coefficient is going to get closer to -1, because if you remove outliers, your if you remove outliers, it means that there will be a stronger correlation. And now remember, a stronger correlation is between -1 or 1. It means that those correlations, they're going to get closer to -1 or get closer to 1, meaning that they're going to have a perfect correlation. All right, I hope that's understandable.